feel bad because I'm drinking tea at the same time.
Hello, Alex Baker.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
We've DIY'd our way up into improving our podcasting equipment since the last time I came around your house.
Yeah, I'm talking into like a furry...
Is that really distracting? Is the fur like getting in your mouth?
It's okay. I can give it a hairstyle, so it's still good.
Like those red noses a couple of years ago.
How are you, Steve?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad.
How was your weekend?
What, this weekend or last weekend?
Well, we haven't done it in a couple of weeks.
No.
I don't know, how was both?
How's both? Yeah, they're all right.
How was either?
I think I went out... I don't know if I should say this. I'm going to say it. I think the last time, sort of the gap in between, I went out and... So I went to my cousin's... I say cousin, not really a cousin, but family friend who's functionally a cousin. Went to their engagement party the other day. So that was really nice and really good. And then he asked me to be his best man. And I'm terrified.
Big up.
I'm one of two best men. He has another best man, which is basically the stag organizer. Because I can't handle that kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, yeah, so I've kind of got that looming in the back of my mind now.
So you have to do a speech.
Have to do a speech.
And the whole spiel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not till... His wedding isn't till, like, December 18 or something. So I've got a long while yet.
Fair
But,
enough.
yeah, just think about how do you No, I haven't been to very, very many weddings in my life. I've only ever been to, like, the after-party bit where everyone drinks and stuff. I've never been to, like, the churchy bit, as far as I can remember, at least. So that's going to be a new experience. And, yeah, I've never experienced a best man speech in person either. So
yours will be the first you'll hear.
Very possibly.
In the flesh.
In the flesh, unless I go to a wedding in between then.
Yeah.
But unlikely.
Amazing.
Unlikely. So that was...
Brilliant.
That was a bombshell.
Awesome.
Nice.
Seems daunting.
It is a bit. I was like,
It's okay, it's only his biggest day of his life.
It's fine. Totally fine. Yeah.
And then the weekend after?
The weekend after... I can't even remember now. Football, probably. Editing. Yeah, nothing exciting. What about you? Any gigs recently?
Oh man, I'm so bad at remembering. No. Past couple of weekends I think I've just been working and, I don't know, yeah, just sort of looking over tunes that we're going to be doing or whatever. Playing for gigs or whatever, little gigs here and there. But yeah, just, because I work weekends obviously, so.
Yeah. Lots of working.
Yay.
Nice.
Yeah, just work mainly, which is a really interesting answer. I think you win.
I win
the game of who had the best weekends or weekend.
And because you are a musician in your for one of your careers, I wanted to ask you about some music, of which I assume you have a deep and in-depth knowledge.
I know like one thing about music.
What's that?
It's good.
Thanks. Informative.
As always. Yeah, music's one things that I don't know, have spent a large amount of time with. So, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Right. So, do you remember like the first album that you ever either bought personally or like got bought for you? It's always a...
Yeah, but it's like unrelated to what I...
What was it?
It was like it was a busted CD.
Yes, boy.
Yeah. Millennials.
Millennials.
Yeah. As millennials you can get. It was a CD player and a busted CD.
Nice.
And I rinsed that mother. Like, yeah, I wasn't even into music then. That's the weird thing. I had that, and that was literally the only CD I owned.
For the longest time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my CD player broke because I was a child and I screwed around with it too much, and yeah, it ended up breaking. So, that's what happened to that.
Nice. Was that the one with like what I've got to go to school for on it, and like year 3000?
The bangers.
The bangers.
Everyone was a banger. I think I did have like a couple of like favourite songs on it, but I'll have to like go and listen to it again. But yeah, that was it. Which is pretty hilarious considering.
I think like for a lot of people our age, That was probably their first album.
Mm.
Like, I can't even
that
remember
or
what year it must have
McFly
been.
or something.
Yeah,
like
that or McFly. Yeah, they're sort of.
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah. Skater Boy must have been around that time. That sort of 2003, 2004
Yeah.
sort of time period. Yeah, a lot of
Golden
people.
age.
Golden age of weird like pop music.
I guess it would be like, oh man, yeah, it's just like pop that was, I guess, influenced by like rock or like the whole punk sort of thing.
Yeah, really early pop punk, like before Paramore and Fall Out Boy. It was.
But like more, I'd say more poppy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fair enough. It's funny how they just like, you know, the influences. Like if you looked at Avril Lavigne back then, it'd be like, yeah, obviously, like everyone wore that sort of stuff at school. It's hilarious. So funny. But yeah, probably. So that was my first album, but then I don't know. It's hard because obviously I had the radio on as a kid and like and that on there, but I was never really conscious of music. And after that, it was probably, I think I had my own radio, and I remember recording the Beyonce song.
Hello.
What was it? What was it?
I'm gonna need a bit more than that if I'm being honest.
The one with Jay-Z in it.
Got me looking so crazy in love.
Got me crazy in love. So I remember recording that. Not like, again, it wasn't like me going, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever," as like a small child. It was just me testing if it worked. So I got like half the song on it. So I remember specifically that being on tape, like me having half of that song on tape, like so,
on tape.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is like so it was like a little like a radio thing.
I don't think I ever got to. No, I did. Yeah. Like
Well,
recording the radio.
Yeah, I never had my own tapes, but I had blank tape.
tapes.
Yeah. So that, and then
Wow.
I know how ridiculous.
In our lifetime, we were recording things on tapes, and now we're like streaming it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
mental.
And now I have streaming service. That's so weird. So weird. But yeah, and then other than that, I think one of the first things that I owned, like first albums I owned, was I don't know. I think my dad's mate gave me a burnt copy of Appetite for Destruction.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was like probably the first album that I was like, Jesus Christ.
Mm.
And I listened to every song and now I can probably sing it. I mean, I haven't listened to it in full in ages, but yeah, it's probably them three. Nice. Busted, then half a Beyonce song, then Appetite for Destruction.
A very journey. Yeah, I think my first CD was Busted as well.
Yeah.
And then I very distinctly remember we had like once a week or whatever in primary school, we had a sort of like show and tell time thing, and you got to pick the CD that was played during Golden Time or something on a Friday. And it was my turn this particular time, and so I'd gone out and bought it not too long beforehand, and it was the Crazy Frog.
Oh wow!
Do you remember that?
Amazing.
I stood in front of a group of 30 children and told them one of my favourite songs was Crazy Frog.
Yeah.
My musical tastes as a 10-year-old
was a thing.
were quite incredible. Do you have a first, or do you remember a first gig that you went to, or concert?
I didn't actually start going to gigs until like way later. So yeah, I literally haven't been going to gigs for like that much longer than I've been playing gigs, which is the most retarded thing. Like, you know, for someone who loves music as much as me. But again, I was like quite late getting into music, so there was never a reason for me to go to gigs. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my first proper gig was. I mean, when I started going to my uni or whatever, or doing the diploma here in Guildford, could have been one of the gigs here. Or
that's incredible.
Or it could have, yeah, exactly. Or it could
you had to go to a music college to go to your first gig.
Well, it might have been, but I don't know if before that I went and saw Alter Bridge at Wembley.
Oh yeah.
So that might have been before that. So that was Alter Bridge and Hailstorm.
I think was I there?
I think you were there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was you,
me, and Kick. Yeah. And Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I barely
Big
remember that. I was really mad because we missed Hailstorm. And we had like Shinedown or something. I was like, who the hell is Shinedown? And Kick was like, oh yeah, I love it. Love Shinedown.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is really
Hailstorm,
early
yeah, we saw
2000s
like the
rock.
last few tunes of them.
Yeah, and they disappeared.
They were amazing. The last bits I saw, the drummer
Love
was
it.
going
Yeah,
mental.
yeah.
So
Remember
that
that?
was amazing. But yeah, so that's ridiculously, it's quite fresh in the memory because it wasn't that long ago. Probably we're talking probably my first gig was probably 4 years ago. I want to say 4 years.
That's properly insane.
Fair. So yeah, that was my
Nice.
so my first gig probably about 4 years ago, and now I'm playing gigs.
That's insane.
Which
Like,
isn't,
no.
It's not like, anyone can play gigs sort of thing.
No.
You can go and do, anyone can get up and sing at a bloody whatever. But, but yeah, it's just weird, I guess. What about you?
My first gig was a Busted gig
Yeah.
at Wembley with my mum and the person I'm going to be best man for.
Fair.
I think that was his first gig as well. He's like a couple of years older than me.
Awesome.
Yeah, Busted. Come on. Love it.
Rock and roll.
Influential part of my childhood.
I mean, you could have, they recently did a comeback tour, didn't they?
I know, yeah.
Could have both went to that.
I know.
Really cemented that,
Shame.
thing.
Shame.
So how old were you when you did that?
I don't know. I think I must have been... I must have been...
Was it when they were around the first time?
Yeah.
So was that like
I'm gonna check
over
when
10 years ago, maybe?
Check when that album was released. That tour was for... Okay, so that album, the second album of Busted, called A Present for Everyone, was released November 2003.
Oh.
So I must have seen them sometime during 2004, I'd guess.
So you were like 7, maybe?
Yeah. 5, 4. No. 9.
I got that wrong.
9.
Yeah, like 9.
9.
So under 10.
Older than I thought, actually.
That's still
Under
quite
10.
young.
Yeah.
That's still a good, 6 years or whatever before I went to my first gig or probably more than that.
Yeah, I don't remember tons about it, but because, it was in Wembley again, so you're miles away.
Yeah.
But, I remember enjoying it, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's the main thing.
So what's your so of gigs you've been to, what's one that really stands out in your mind as a really one of the best ones you've been to?
So my favourite one, I think. One of the when I was as a young teenager, must be like 2011, 12, something like that. I can't remember. How old am I then? 14, 15, 16, something like that. That was when I was really deep into music. I'm sort of less into it now. Went to see a band called Young Guns in Brighton in a tiny, tiny, tiny room called the Concorde 2. And that was one of the most mental experiences I've ever had in my life. It was, one of the first tiny venues I've ever been to. Before that, it's always been big arenas and enormous bands, and that was a proper local tiny venue. And the first time I ever got tinnitus, or ringing in my ears rather, from a band. It was incredible. And I knew all the songs that Young Guns were singing, and the support acts were great, and and it was in Brighton, so a bit of a commute, but
fair enough.
Really, really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Funny you say that. I know the guy who's been drumming for Young Guns for the past few months. He's really cool. So, and they're a really cool band actually. I remember you being into them, and I listened to a few of their tunes. Exactly. Quite cool. Aren't they from Surrey?
Probably.
I don't know. Yeah. Around.
But I don't know. I think they're Canterbury or something. Let me check.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
You Meet at 6 are from Surrey. Weybridge.
Right. Weybridge. Oh, that's where my girlfriend's from. Actually, she knows them.
She knows You Meet at 6?
Well, I think she's family friends with them. That is
wild.
That is every 15-year-old's fancy.
So I'm just checking where they're from.
And what about your...
Buckinghamshire. Sorry.
Buckinghamshire. So what would you say the worst gig you've been to? Unless it's I
haven't been to that many gigs, and the gigs I've been to, they've never really been...
Never been bad.
Bad. Yeah, I generally go to bands that I enjoy, and I can name probably some weird... I can't even name them, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I went and saw Skindred in Islington one time,
Mm.
and their support act were a proper heavy metal band who were trying to get everyone to really like mosh pit and wall of death and all stuff like that. And they're like the first band on, and like the bassist comes down to the floor because he's got like he's like wirelessly into the amp or whatever, and he's like dancing and going crazy, and like everyone's like literally on the walls trying to get away from like the bassist who's trying to start like a mosh pit.
That's
whatever.
not a good scene.
And it's like, this is a bit cringe.
Yeah.
And, like, you've got like the front row of people who obviously love this support act or whatever, and they're going crazy, and you know, but like everyone else is like as far away from the stage as humanly possible, as this guy's trying to start like a one-man mosh pit. And then one guy goes and joins him, like arm over his shoulder, he's like head banging with like the bassist. That was a bit cringe, but like I don't think I've been to any bad gigs. I wish I'd written down like every gig I've ever been to, but it's a bit late now.
Sounds pretty hilarious, to be honest.
Love Skindred.
Imagine everyone just being really awkward and just hiding. Like, no.
Go away. Well, I was going to try and segue into asking you if there's been any music or artists or whatever that have informed your views. The reason I ask this is because I'm a big fan of bands like Enter Shikari and Rise Against, who have a very clear political message in their music, and they have influenced me and the way I think through that music. And I'm wondering if a band has had any sort of similar effect on you. Maybe not necessarily, changing your political views, but it's kind of why I was, maybe the way you approach music or the way you approach life in general, if there's been any sort of music or artists that have had that kind of impact on you. Or
that's a tough one. I don't know necessarily if there's been as many artists that have influenced me politically, sort of thing. I mean, a lot of the artists that I like, a lot of musicians, I think musicians are quite lucky to be, well, not necessarily lucky, but I think a lot of musicians are more accepting of various different, like, races and faiths, and are just quite open to a lot of things. I think because music is an industry where, it's everywhere in the world, and there's not as much discrimination. I mean, there is, like, without getting into the subject of discrimination in the music industry. But I mean, I think it's quite good. Like, a lot of musicians are like-minded, so I think a lot of music that I listen to, there's like some sort of aspects of that. So it's always like positive, I think. If like it is negative, then I guess I wouldn't really listen to it as much. Like if it's derogatory or whatever. But I mean, so it's not as much on the political side. I don't know. I guess like Alan Stone is really good. I don't know if you've heard of him before.
Can't say I have, no.
He's like a sort of soul kind of artist. But he just talks about like some like political stuff. But obviously he's like a self-proclaimed hippie. So like it's all like love and all the good stuff with that. So I think he's probably one of the only ones I'm really conscious of that with, unless like you're talking about people like Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson or stuff like that. I quite like, but yeah, I don't know. Like what was and so the other bit was like change of mind about like
your musicianship or how you play or anything like that, or the styles you prefer or anything like that. Because I know you did used to be very much into Slash and hard rock music and stuff like that, and I sort of seen you've transitioned more to blues and maybe even jazz to a certain aspect. And
it's interesting. So before I like studied anything, I was like well into my like hard rock and I guess like some aspects of metal or punk and stuff like that. But then I obviously started studying or taking a diploma course around lots of other musicians, and that opens you up to like so much more in terms of music, which is really good. And I got more into like blues, which is kind of a natural progression because a lot of rock stuff is like, it's like blues on steroids sort of thing. Like you listen to like a blues guitar solo, if you add like distortion to it, you get some of the early like rock solos and sort of stuff like that. Or so it's particular in the way of like guitar and vocals in some aspects. like they're howling sort of thing. Like you get that in like blues music and the same with like rock. So that was kind of where it progressed. So yeah, any like blues artists or whatever, I was well into all the original guys, like, or some of the early guys, sorry. So like BB King and Albert King and Freddie King, like the Three Kings, and and then more contemporary people like Stevie Ray Vaughan, people like that. And then, but I guess a lot of it has just come through like people, like not necessarily just like artists. Like it's really useful when you're really into an artist and they say who their inspiration is, and you go back and listen to them. But sometimes you don't really get that from just going through someone's back catalogue, like unless you watch interviews and stuff like that, then you might not necessarily know where it comes from. So I guess a bunch of like tutors or mentors at my university when I was studying music, or people around me who would like turn me on to like cool people. Yeah, just so I think I've gone gradually more, I don't know, just taking inspiration off of people around me. And I think it's always been like, I've never went straight into like some genre that I don't know. It's always been like gradually going into it. So same thing with like rock, then went into like blues, and then from the blues stuff you got like sort of fusion artists and people who take like bluesy and jazz and stuff like that, and blues and jazz and put it together, and then have their own brand of that, and that leads you on to more jazz stuff and whatever. But I think it's half been like where I've been informed and the people, and also having to play like gigs and people asking you to learn certain stuff. Like you're then forced to sort of be able to play in that style or whatever, which then leads you off to look at a bunch of things. Yeah, I mean, I could sit here all day and go into like all the stuff that people who are listening, if you are listening, well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers and stuff. Whether they'd be particularly muso people and want to listen to that sort of stuff, but yeah,
I find that interesting. It should have occurred to me earlier that like you're more likely to get your influences from like real musicians that you know in real life rather than like songs. But like as a musician, that didn't really occur to me.
yeah. It's like it literally is like the people who are around me that can play, that play really well, and I respect because I see them, and then or like tutors. I have certain tutors and guys who have taught me over the past few years that have been like amazing players and just very, very musical. That the guys who influence them, I want to go and look them up, or whatever, or I just learn straight from the people, because it's literally just what you hear and what you like, then you want to go and learn that sort of stuff, or it makes you, or you enjoy that genre or whatever. But yeah, I think not. I mean, you still do get like the big names and whatever of people you haven't necessarily met, but I think it is also, the people who you're actually in contact with have a massive influence as well. Yeah,
people who you respect in real life, you're probably gonna, value their opinion. Certainly.
Like your contemporaries of that.
Who are you listening to at the moment then? Who's on the rotation musically?
I don't know. I'd probably have to like look at
your most recent
CDs,
played.
Yeah, I've bought. I don't know. It's hard to be honest. Over the last couple of days, I was just, last time I put on music, like, and just listened to a couple of albums, I was like out, I think a couple of days ago, and I just had to go and do stuff around town. So I just put on like, I think it was like just pop stuff. It was like John Mayer and like Tori Kelly. So like two quite, I mean, John Mayer's not like just
pop,
a sort of pop artist, but like Tori Kelly kind of is, with like hints of like R&B and stuff in there. But sometimes I just find like listening to that sort of stuff is like, it's so easy to listen to, and it's very melodic, and again, just it's not challenging at all. You don't have to be like, oh, what's going on here? Especially I could just listen to it and just enjoy it, sort of thing, which is cool. So sometimes I just listen to just cheesy pop music, and it actually is really inspiring, like, because it just makes you feel good, and then you want to go and like play. And that you might not necessarily go and play pop tunes. You might sit down and practice something completely different, but it makes you makes your sense of melody kind of stronger. Well, what have you been listening to lately?
What have I been listening to? Oh, well, I'm currently doing a really deep dive. I say deep dive. I bought like 2 of Ed Sheeran's albums and one of his EPs the other day because somehow I'd never bought them before.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of, I don't know, like, I kind of prefer his more upbeat stuff rather than his sad stuff. But, like, You Need Me Man from Plus is really, really good. It's got, like, him rapping in it. I love that.
Yeah.
I know almost all the rap. I'm well proud of myself.
Yeah. Actually, that's funny you mentioned that because, again, I can never think of what I've been listening to. But, again, like a couple of days ago, I was doing some stuff. I think I was just, like, washing up or whatever. And I put, like, some random stuff up on YouTube and, like, Ed Sheeran was coming on. And, like, from, like, a musician standpoint as well, I can, like, really respect him because he's so good rhythmically. Like, he'll make stuff like his... You know, like really, really groove, and he can, you know, as with like he can actually rap and fit like subdivisions into it to make it, you know, it just sounds cool, and it's just an acoustic guitar and him doing it, and it's really cool. But he just also makes like great melodies, just great songs, stuff like that. So, yeah,
I was listening to his live lounge earlier, almost all loop pedal business until like he did a cover of Little Mix, and then he brought in some like backing vocalist and a bassist and whatever. Just incredible stuff. And it gives, because I know you always prefer, or used to tell me at least, that you always preferred listening to like live versions of songs, and like I've really found that with Ed. Like I love listening to live versions of his songs. One, because they're almost always him and a loop pedal, and it's interesting to see how he copes with what songs that are sometimes full bands or piano pieces on like his album, and how he transfers that into acoustic guitar and loop pedal. But also like his intensity, like a song I'd never really listened to that much called Bloodstream off of his Multiply album. He like proper gave it some intensity in this live lounge session. And by the end of it, like he almost sounded to me like Kurt Cobain. It was like proper, incredible. Loved it, love it. And Stormzy has been on the rotation recently as well. Bought his album, listened to that like back to back like 3 times in a row.
Fair enough.
Got to rep the Thornton Heath boys from my ends. Love it. And I recently added all of my like parents. I went through my parents' CDs and added loads of their stuff. So I've got like a number ones from the 1980s, including songs like Tainted Love.
Amazing.
And Come On Eileen.
Bangers.
And stuff like that, and some dance album that my dad has, and all good stuff.
That's brilliant. So I haven't really listened to Stormzy like at all, really. I've probably listened to like 2 of his tunes or whatever. But I've seen like more interviews. You know, it's one of those things where you're just on YouTube, you just end up watching like whatever. Like just Stormzy just seems like a total geezer. Like you could just sit down and just like chat with him for hours. Seems like such a nice guy.
Did you see the interview between him and Ed?
Yeah, I watched that the other day,
love
actually.
That one. Like, this is like a wedding speech. You're exactly what you said on the tin.
Aw, so cute.
So cute.
Yeah, I like that when, like, you know, you see artists as, like, you know, normal human beings. It's like, too many times you watch interviews where, like... You know, there's a lot of interviews where they try and humanise them, but it's still, you can tell, it's almost scripted, and it doesn't get not too personal, but they never get too informal. It's like, you know, you watch, like, I don't know, Jonathan Ross or like that sort of stuff.
You can tell they're just there to plug their album or
exactly. It's just like a business thing, where it's like you watch some interviews with people who are like people like Stormzy or Ed Sheeran, where they're just
sitting on the couch.
It's like, I love that. Yeah. It's essentially what I want to do. Is just sit around on my sofa and just chat absolute rubbish. It'd be brilliant.
I was going to say, I bought Annabelle's Rich Backgrounds as well from iTunes. That was another one of my recent purchases. You're not on that, are you?
I'm not playing on that,
no. Okay.
But hopefully we'll be doing some shows to promote that or whatever.
Nice.
I don't know yet, but I can't say. But that's really fun. I mean, we play it live, so we're referring to an artist that I play in a band of called Annabelle Allen.
I'll put links and such in the show notes if you wish to.
Yeah, links and ting.
Links and ting. Oh Christ.
Yeah, it's about like, I think it's about when we play it live, she always describes it as a song about like rich kids who like get everything sort of thing, but not like in a horrible way, like these are the worst people in the world, because obviously it's not their fault, whatever. But yeah, it's just about like I think like contrast, I guess, in their life compared to hers or whatever. But how did you
enjoyed
enjoy
it? Yeah. I remember seeing you lot play it live, and I was like, I remember this.
Yeah, it's actually really different because I just had to like make up a part for it. So what I play on that, like I had to when she actually released that, or sent us the bits, like, you know, it was like a bit different. Like there wasn't any other, you know, I just had to like relearn it sort of thing. But yeah, it's really cool, really like wild sort of sounding thing. So I love it.
Yeah, another one of the people I've seen you gig with, Marcus Coyne. His song "Memory Lanes" is incredible. One of my favourite songs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, I haven't played with Marcus.
Always sing that song.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes, it's on shuffle again. Come on,
Come on.
play it again. I
You
love it.
You have to put links in for that as well.
Yeah. Big up Marcus. Love it.
Yeah.
Bought it in person. Gave him the money.
In real life. Gave the real life bought a real life album.
Support your local independent artists, people.
Real life money. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope to do some more of that at some point. So we'll see what happens.
Do you prefer like or maybe you can't say, but like you play when I came to see you play with Annabelle versus when I came to see you play with Marcus? Very different things. Obviously, Marcus more of an acoustic artist.
Yeah, like folk sort of music.
Yeah, folky sort of music. Annabelle, that gig at least was very kind of grunge inspired. I don't know quite how to explain it. Do you have a preference in terms of what you prefer playing, or like the environment or the genres you prefer playing?
No, not really. I think it's just like you get in a different headspace sort of thing. So yeah, you just, I mean, for me anyway, if I'm playing like other people's music, it's whatever I just play to best suit that. So you don't really think of like yourself like, oh, I need to sound like this or do something really cool here. It's like I just play what is either on the record or what I'm being sort of asked to play, which sounds a bit like, can sound a bit boring to some like creative types, but for me, I love doing that. Like I love getting the reaction from the artist afterward when they've done a good gig and their band is like playing really well and they've like done it. They're just like, they're so like, I really feed off that sort of energy of them doing that. So yeah, I really enjoy like both of them. I mean, I enjoyed like playing loads of different stuff. So yeah, I can't really say that one's more enjoyable because they're both like they're just
completely
different.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Apples to oranges. Isn't it?
Yeah, and you get like different audience for both, or a different audience for both, which give back like different things as you're playing. So, and they appreciate the music in different ways. Like there's different aspects of both. So, yeah. I mean, do you have a preference of so not just based on those gigs or whatever, just in general? Is there a particular type of music or something you're drawn to? I mean, again, you used to be like really into your rock and punk and stuff like that, and now it's more like pop.
I always find it difficult to describe what I find good about music. For me, they have to have some kind of soul to it, and it's difficult to explain in words. But like I was saying, like it's not that I don't like acoustic music, because I definitely do. My purchase of 3 Ed Sheeran albums should be proof of that. But like, very difficult to. Yeah, you have to have like a soul, a passion, and like an intensity, like, which is why I'm more drawn to grunge and punk and, you know, aggressive, punchy, in your face, upbeat, you know, really let's go kind of music, but also really chipper pop music. Yeah, because it all has, you know, that kind of. Makes me feel alive.
Yeah, I suppose to a certain extent it's kind of all like them type of them different types of music are kind of all like, I don't know how like muso-y this is going to sound or whatever, but compressed to a certain degree.
What do you mean by
As
that?
in, pop music is kind of compressed, whereas all of it sounds like upbeat. So, the verses and the choruses are like very much the same level, and they're all sort of heading the same way. And, or some, I'm not generalizing, as in like, some stuff that I know is very upbeat music. Like, it will be like, it will sound like it's all chorus sort of thing.
Yeah,
If you get what I mean. It's all got the same sort of feel. And then like a lot of punk stuff, obviously, you get a lot of punk bands that are just like at 100 the whole song, like, just like absolutely going for it, which is like, it's cool. But I guess, I mean,
Depends what mood I'm in, really.
it's quite hard because, when you say like acoustic music, you're not like a bit bigger fan of it. I think. Do you
like
think
I
you're?
am,
Yeah.
but
Do you think you're referring to? 'Cause I guess production of it can affect that. If it's like bad production of a song, then it does take away some of the feel of it.
yeah,
So I guess like what you like is probably intent, or like a passion. Like when you can hear that the person is passionate about it, sort of thing.
because I was about to say I don't like sad songs, but like I do.
I love sad songs.
Maybe it's where the dynamics stay the same the whole way through.
Yeah.
Like I need to have a bit of variety, because I was just thinking like Adele's "Someone Like You" is incredible, but it's sad.
Yeah.
But the bit you remember is when she's properly belting the chorus. I don't know. Maybe I just like singing choruses. I don't know.
Maybe just like
I just
choruses.
like choruses.
Yeah.
Don't bore us. Get to
Get
the
to
chorus. Is that Spinal Tap?
Fair enough. I think no, that was.
No.
I just heard Dave Grohl say that once.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sounds like something for the Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just, I mean, that's the thing. Like even stuff like Ed Sheeran and Stormzy, quite different.
I do pride myself on my extraordinarily varied music taste.
Yeah.
It's one-
But then at the same time, a lot of the grime stuff is like it is. Again, it's like it has got that like passion because and it has got
They're all
that
very
intensity.
angry people.
Yeah. Or they've got something to say.
Yeah.
And it's the same with like songwriters of Ed Sheeran's caliber. They can really say something with a song and make people feel stuff. The same with like Stormzy. So I think there's always amazing artists in like every genre.
Yeah. What you can always they've played together a lot, and like they're always linked in my mind now because I bought their albums at almost the same time. But like the thing about Ed Sheeran and Stormzy is their ability to tell a story. Which I suppose all good music does, really. I was going to go somewhere at that point. I don't know where now.
What have we done so far on this one?
I mean, really, just what music do you like? Is essentially what we spoke about.
And what have you been listening to?
What have we been listening to? Which, I mean, very valid points.
And you being a best man.
Yeah.
Oh. So I'm going to ask you the question I was going to ask you this week, but we just veered off into music, which
is
I'm
fine.
not. I've not got a problem with. I can talk about that all day. So we're sort of doing this podcast. I mean, at the moment we're recording it at my house, and we're just sort of seeing what happens. And you've I think it was today.
Around about midnight last night.
Yeah. Put the first episode 0 on your channel. So this might come 3 or 4 episodes later. But what I was going to ask you is who inspires you creatively. So I think you summed up in the episode 0 that you don't necessarily know like what direction you want to go. Like sort of you're not, we used to play in a band together, so you definitely and like your love of music definitely shows you've got a sort of creativity there, and you definitely enjoy stuff like you're definitely into like journalism and all this sort of stuff, basically different areas. But as you said, like you're not like specifically pigeonholed into one, or you haven't put all your eggs in one basket.
Nope. Fingers in many pies.
So I guess, I mean, this sort of series we're going to go, touch upon that, I guess, and in the different episodes talk about different stuff. that could possibly fuel that or whatever, or you're going to go into that in other episodes
Mm.
that might be before this, but yeah, so who are your sort of creative influences, be their music or
It's a
any other
wide
platform?
spectrum. As we've been talking about music, I will first and foremost say Rao Reynolds,
I
the
knew that was going to come.
lead
Yeah.
singer of Enter Shikari. Amazing lyricist, poetic man. He can rap, he can sing, he can shout aggressively. He's got a book. Well, they've got a book coming out, which that I've pre-ordered. Should be coming sometime around March, where they explain every lyric he's ever written in a nice hardback book, which is going to be
That's
incredible.
pretty cool.
That's
That's awesome.
I love Enter Shikari. I've quoted them several times in geography essays.
So a while back then.
A while back. I love them so much. He has shaped my views politically and socially, and has
For the positive,
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
and has drawn
Obviously.
me into the sort of electronic music area, and also like grime,
Mm.
but not well. I don't know. Kind of that more. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but
That's the thing. Like as I mentioned earlier, sometimes you listen to music and that sort of weans you, like not off of a certain music then onto another, but it opens a doorway that you wouldn't have necessarily gone to directly. So you were big into like the rock stuff, but because you love that music so much, that opened it more for like, rap and then like more electronic music styles because of that band. So
yeah, big influence. Away from music, God, Jesus. I mean, these are just really big, but like George Orwell, like
yeah,
writer of Animal Farm in 1984, two of the best books I've ever read. A fan of his essays. Again, concise, clear. His books changed my outlook on the world. Again, it's kind of the period before I read 1984, and then the period after are
really
different.
I like different.
Yeah,
That's amazing. I haven't actually read those books yet, but I was talking to someone at work who will remain
need to read it
nameless
again.
and is into Trump, etc.
Oh my Jesus!
And he just calls me George Orwell, and I've never read any of his books or anything like that. So it's like, maybe,
Maybe you should read George
Yeah.
Orwell, sir.
yeah, maybe I haven't got a problem. But yeah, it's just funny. So I think that it's definitely. I think it's actually sitting in my cart on Amazon, 1984. So I'm not condoning Amazon.
Other
George
booksellers
Orwell would
are
probably,
available.
probably not want me to off Amazon. But times are tough, George. Okay,
Man's got to read.
man's got to get educated.
Again, another one of my brief projects for a while was, I could become an author, can't I? And I was very much writing in the style of George Orwell, but also like J.K. Rowling and Douglas Adams, people like that. But yeah, haven't written a lot in a while, and when I have, it's been non-fiction. So yeah, haven't written any fiction in a while. And as far as podcasts go, big fan of all the NPR podcasts, like Planet Money, who do reporting, and they'll bring back a story and they'll present it to you and they'll lay it out nicely, concisely, and it's all very top tier production, as well as people like Criminal, a true crime podcast, all the Gimlet shows, all very narrative driven storytelling with like a narrator, and they're weaving, tape, as it were, in with their narration and constructing a story like that. And having done that on one episode and not done it very well, but being intensely proud of it because I made it.
Yeah,
I have such a great respect for what they do and like the long-term planning that you have to have, and yeah, incredible stuff. And also
one day we'll have that
one day
production budget.
we'll get there.
We'll have people
And then as far as
giving us
the
money
two dudes
to-
talking sort of genre
yeah,
of podcast, I listen to the two CGP Grey podcasts. He's a YouTuber who is most famous for the difference between the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and the British Isles video, which has got like 7 million views or something on YouTube. Him and his friend talk about all sorts of stuff, and he has another one where he talks about productivity and how to get work done and stuff. And it was through their podcast that I knew what Squarespace was and purchased a Squarespace site to make this podcast. How I bought my domain name through their domain name sponsor, and using their sort of, it's called Cortex, their productivity podcast is sort of what's made me focus. And I've now got a task manager app, and I'm putting in tasks. I'm like, right, I need to edit this by this date. I need to do this. I need to do that. That's really made me what I am now. So
fair enough.
Yeah,
I've there was this YouTube channel that I've watched a few videos of, and they've been pretty good. It was called The Art of Manliness. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
I don't think they've been very active recently, but they've got a few videos on there that are like decent. It's not as like I think like the whole fake bravado of like being a man sort of thing. I don't think it's like that like old fashioned sort of thing. I don't think it is like that from what I've watched anyway. But they had a couple of videos on like productivity and stuff like that, and like how to be like an early riser. One of their videos is, and like funnily enough, that was like today actually before work. I went to bed early last night, so that today I could get up early and do stuff before I went to work. So I find that's really. We should do like a podcast on that, just a full episode.
Spin-off podcast.
Yeah. But actually, to be fair, I haven't heard any of the podcasts that you've mentioned. Like I am literally, wasn't Criminal one of those?
Yeah, I think sorry, yeah. If I could recommend one podcast to you, I haven't listened to it personally, but I reckon you'd find it interesting. It's the one called Song Exploder. It's where they bring in an artist each week, and they get them to break down exactly why they made a song the way they made it. They rip it apart and break it down like that. But yeah,
fair enough.
I gather that you probably listen to podcasts more through like YouTube than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's more either gear related stuff, as in like music sort of stuff, or music stuff, or football stuff, or like I quite like just having people talking in the background while I'm doing other stuff. So it's not. Sometimes it's not even in like podcasts. It's
just a sit down video and
exactly, where they're like just talking about something that's happened, or like I'm kind of. I don't know. I think it's just a problem I have, because I'll literally just
have to have sound on in the background.
Yeah, I'll be doing anything monotonous that I need to be doing, and then I'll have to. Always in my brain, I'm like, I'm using my hands and using my brain for one thing, but my ears are not being used right now. So either I'll put on music where I can I'll educate myself on a certain type of music, or listen to something I enjoy, or the other half of me is just go on YouTube and just find like anything, because you can just educate yourself on like stuff you don't even know about. Like I can't remember what I was looking at, but it was like people building stuff and like explaining how to do stuff and whatever. But it's just like there's so many videos out there that you can just find stuff that you're never gonna do, or you're probably not gonna use that information. But it's just interesting to watch something and just and learn stuff. Like so, I'm almost like I could be learning something right now, and then just pop something on as I'm doing like washing up or whatever, which is completely mental. But
no, I've got in that habit where like, especially now, I've really noticed it where like I'll want to edit a podcast, but I will keep putting it off because I'm listening to a podcast. Can't edit while I listen to it. Yeah.
Again, one day, Steve. There'll be someone who does that for you. It will happen.
I used to really hate video editing, which is partly why I stopped making YouTube videos, because I have the most time-intensive editing process of anyone known to man.
Is it just inefficient?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah.
So I'll start with my clips or whatever, and I'll play it through. I'll cut. I'll go back to the beginning. I'll watch it all the way through again. Right, cut that bit out, sort that bit out, go back to the beginning. So I've effectively watched it like the full thing like 5 or 7 times by like the time I finished editing it. So it takes me hours.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because I remember you having your YouTube channel at a time. You actually started to like get like okay views for someone who's just starting out. Like this is probably a few years ago, and you were like just doing like vlogs and stuff. But
yeah.
you started like you got like
I got like a couple of hundred views on like.
yeah.
some
I mean
videos.
like when I say like doing like okay, what I mean is like people who will come back and watch the videos and comment on them and stuff like that. So. I mean, I think I think it's just probably. What was it? Do you reckon it was just the video editing, putting it off, and feeling responsible for bringing out a video every now and again? Or
It was that, and then like I obviously went away and stopped doing it for a little while for whatever reason. I can't remember. And when I came back and started doing them again, I got like significantly less views.
yeah,
And I was like, this is really,
you
really.
need to crack the YouTube algorithm.
I do. Yeah.
So I remember that was
Yeah.
like I did some YouTube videos ages ago, but they were just like either covers or songs or stuff like that, just guitar stuff. And obviously covering songs is quite good because a lot of people look up covers, so you get like decent views on it, and a lot of comments and stuff like that. But yeah, I just didn't do them for ages, and then if you don't do something on YouTube for a while, it quickly becomes like outdated for you as a person, especially when you're like, especially when you at any age, I think like, it's quite hard to like you'd never know what you're gonna put on next, and you think, oh, I've been gone for a while. The next thing I need to put on needs to be good. Sort of make up for
and
it,
just
and
keep
then
putting off and off.
yeah,
and,
exactly.
And when you finally do put it up, it gets like no views. It's like, oh, I am really bad. And
Yeah,
really, that's just the algorithm because no one's clicked on your stuff for a while, so YouTube doesn't suggest it to anyone. So you sort of have to like, turn up for a while, and then YouTube will be like, oh, they are going to upload regularly, and then they'll actually start sending people to you. But it's just, getting over that barrier. And I changed what I wanted to make as well. I became really disenfranchised with like vlogging as a whole. I saw it as like really like self-indulgent and clickbaity, and I was like, so then I was like, I'll make short films, and they are significantly longer to make.
Yeah,
I'm not very good at them, and no one really watches them.
I think short films are hard, aren't they? Because I think that's something
I don't watch short films
Yeah,
because it requires too much thinking and like time investment. I listen to vlogs like so much, but like that's what Ryan said to me. Like, would you watch this? I'm like, no, not really.
yeah, that's hard.
Like, I don't know.
And I think you need a certain degree of not like training in a way, or you need to.
And the production values are so high now for like.
Yeah, exactly. And what people expect on YouTube.
Yeah.
Everyone's got like good cameras now,
exactly.
And people helping them out film stuff. So it's increasingly harder to make something that is impressive on a budget of nothing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, essentially, and like
because it all looks good, like in comparison to something that someone recorded 5 years ago on the same budget of nothing. It is massively better, but it's just the difference of people knowing what they're doing with the equipment and people not knowing what they're different. It makes a massive difference. Whereas vlogging, you can sort of just
you can adapt much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep yourself fresh. Yeah. And it's only ever me and Ryan, and I'm the only two actors I really know, so
yeah,
hard to do stuff if there's a 1-man or 2-man show. But
is that a bruise on your arm?
Yes. Jiu-jitsu.
So I've just noticed that you have a giant bruise on your arm.
Yes.
And you have got that from fighting people.
Come
on, Steve.
Pacifist.
It's 2017. Can't go beating people up now.
It doesn't even hurt anymore. Like, it really hurt earlier on, like in the week, and there was no bruise. I was like, oh, it must just be me being weird, but it's coming out now.
So when you do jiu-jitsu, is it like very physical? Like, are you at a decent enough level where there's proper force applied against you?
It depends on the session. Like, I think I got this from specifically, it was a Sunday, which is why I didn't come whenever it was the last weekend. That was one of the things I did, was jiu-jitsu. It was specifically a fighting session. So we did lots of like sparring, and then we did lots of grappling on the ground and ground work and how to throw people to the floor. So I expect I've gone to block someone's kick. I've gone like that. And they've just hit my arm because I don't wear arm guards. I wear hand guards and leg guards, but I don't wear arm guards. So
Fair enough.
love it. I feel like I need to also join the gym though because I don't think it's enough. I'm getting fat. For all those biscuits I'm eating.
You're not getting fat. Well, I mean, I just ate like half packet of biscuits. So.
I had 2 of those. I was quite pleased with myself. My self-control. Thankfully, I didn't need much because you ate them all. You and Harry.
I have a problem. And this is literally yesterday and today me saying, yeah, I'm going to not go and eat more sugar. It's an addiction and, you know, people have real problems with sugar. So I'm going to stop myself. And then I just go and eat half a packet of chocolate digestives. Well, on that note of personal health and fitness, I think that's all for this podcast.
I think that is it as well.
So if you have listened on our 3rd or 4th or whenever this comes out, then
Who
thank you
knows
very
the
much.
order at this point? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, by this point we could be on like thousands of views. You know, we don't know. We could be 3 videos on, and it could be 3 videos deep, and it's the next big thing.
That's the thing. This might stay online forever. It might be like 272 like years later, and people are still.
Could you imagine that?
I mean, YouTube might not be around anymore, or maybe there will be the supreme overlords who are controlling the human race. It's difficult to say.
Lords.
Yeah.
Or we could just, you know, not upload this, and then, you know, we become massively successful with a podcast, and then we just release this as a cheeky little Easter egg. Like, oh, we didn't release this one 10 years ago. This is what we sound like. This is when we were poor.
This is when we were poor. Before we had our enormous studio and our interns,
our
sponsors, our corporate sponsors.
Yeah, Squarespace.
Gotta get
Cheers.
that Squarespace money.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that's about it for this time. So, cheers for listening and stuff. Is there anything you want to say, Steve?
Is there anything you want to plug, sir?
Not right now.
Not right now.
There will be in the future.
We'll
Don't
get
you
back
worry
to you
about
on
that.
I'll get back to you. You can follow me on Twitter at Nevetsleh. That's NEVETSLEH. It's the same on Instagram as well. If you want to follow me there, I post selfies and food and sunsets. That's pretty much it.
And dogs, maybe?
If you have any feedback about this episode, you can email us at polorispodcast@gmail.com. You know, if you have any suggestions for questions that you have or ways we can improve this show, let us know. Or if you want to be on it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Or I don't know yet.
Guests. Oh, don't know.
Depends. Are you famous?
Are you famous? Yeah. But yeah. I mean, I'm not even on iTunes at this point, so I can't even tell you to like and favourite on iTunes and stuff. But
we might be.
we might. Well, as of time of recording, I can't find us on iTunes because we haven't indexed yet.
Oh.
Bit of behind the scenes
I'll have to
chat there.
update my Twitter.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get a new Twitter account because my previous one is just
Start
nothing,
fresh.
nothing, and then filled with lots of political stuff around the time of the UK election, and then nothing for ages again. So
And occasionally a football tweet.
yeah, exactly. Just retweets.
Go on, Rooney.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I need to get back on that. Yeah, so.
Dear. Any words of wisdom? Any parting words of wisdom for the people, Baker?
Cheers and stuff.
Nice. My favourite phrase at the moment. Memento mori. Which means, remember, you're going to die.
That is brilliant. What a way to end.